Yeah. Uh, Welcome, everyone. We are live today, Thursday. It is still gray outside. I haven't even opened up the blinds yet, but there's no. I can see the edges, so it's just barely in any light out there right now. So we are starting to see the the recession happening. The ebb is happening right now, where we're moving from summer into fall. Is what we're starting to see. It is a beautiful transition. It is so slick, so smooth. Um, it is one of those things. Why did I say give peace a chance today? Inner peace. Inner peace. Because I looked on Reddit this morning and Canadians are becoming more and more disgruntled, you understand? And so I said, I'm going to leave it alone and I'm going to do this and then I will respond because I have to respond to it. You see, when we have something that affects us on the inside and it leaves an impression on us, we will act outside. As within, so without. How we feel inside, we behave outside. And so, in order to change what is going on the outside, we must change on the inside. There is no way around this. This is why I say it is not enough to complain. Complaining makes the problem worse. And it's not just one person complaining, you understand. It is one person times however many. And if you can recall the Tower of Babel, all people had one focus, one thought they all had, you understand? And because they had one thought, one focus, they accomplished something. They accomplished it. But yet, we would take that story for granted and say, well, that's not real. That didn't happen. There's no evidence of it happening in history. We miss the whole story because we're looking for the physical. That story is telling you psychologically what happens when a whole bunch of people get together with the same focus. So you want to change your city, you want to change your neighborhood. Listen to the undercurrent or feel the undercurrent of where you live. When you feel the undercurrent of where you live, you will get a very clear picture of each individual's thought or the majority thought in your neighborhood. The majority stronger thought in your neighborhood is what you will feel. And when you feel it, then you'll know what people are thinking. As a collective, but not just any collective, the stronger collective. Because this is what is happening in and around us on a daily basis, but we do not see the connection. And if anybody points out the connection, you're crazy. All one needs to do is observe. We cannot say a particular sentiment is on the rise without recognizing that that sentiment has erupted from one person and it spreads from there. So the solution is inside the problem. The problem is a sentiment has arisen, and it's not a good one. And now it has poisoned the minds of the people who allow themselves to be poisoned by it. Whether you think this sentiment is true or not is not the question. The question is, what effect is it happening? What effect is happening within you and in your city? And do you like it? That is the question. And if you say, oh my God, because you have people saying, we're going to leave. We're going to move. Dude, you're going to move and go where? You're taking your sentiments with you. So then you create and you contribute to the creation of the problem elsewhere. So when I say to give peace a chance, I'm not just talking John Lennon, because he was on the right track. All we are saying, give peace a chance. Well, that seems so kumbaya and so corny, doesn't it? But if you ask anybody in any country on this planet what they would tell you, man, I just want some peace of mind. And then they'll tell you, we want some food. We want a better standard of living. All of those things stem from having inner peace. Oh, but Angela, the government, inner peace. Oh, but Angela, the war, inner peace. Inner peace. It is what is required. You see, yes, I know it is required, handsome. I know this is what I'm trying to convey to everybody this morning, that inner peace is required. And I will say it again for those in the back. So thank you, Lil Bit, for your generous contributions this morning. Give peace a chance. Where should you begin? With yourself. When you give peace a chance using yourself, first and foremost, because charity begins at home. You want something to change, you are the one to change it within yourself. So I know that it may be very challenging to quote unquote give peace a chance. I know it may be challenging. But what is the alternative? Wars and rumors of war and a whole bunch of disgruntled people. And disgruntled people sooner or later start to, it spills out. As within, so without. So how do you calm the self? By going within. When you go within, you acknowledge, oh my God, I'm so upset right now. I'm so frustrated right now. And I'm tired of being those things. This is not sustainable. How am I supposed to go through life being this way, angry and upset? Because the only person it is affecting is me. It is affecting my blood pressure, my sugar, it's my mood, my heart rate. Everything is being affected within me. Not everybody else, me. I'm the one getting sick. I'm the one got to find money to go to the doctor. And the way my bank account is set up it's not conducive to the doctor, is it? And you're having this conversation with yourself. And sooner rather than later, you will see The only person who suffers from holding on to the anger and the resentment and the bitterness is you. And then you end up feeling like you're the one being punished, when in actuality, it is self-inflicted. So how do you change it? By first recognizing that you've got a problem and you don't like it. And then you recognize that you are no different from anybody else. They all want the same thing. You all want the same thing. See, you want it, they want it, everybody wants it. So then if everybody's wanting the same thing, seriously, everybody wants a better life. They want a soft life. They don't want to have to fret about feeding anybody, paying any bills. They don't want to fret about, oh my God, temporary foreign workers are taking all the jobs. They don't want to fret about that anymore. They just want peace. If you pay attention, you'll see that everybody wants the exact same thing. But where are they on the sliding scale of polarity? That depends. Where was their origin? Where did they move from? Where are they trying to get to? So to fix this problem, recognize that everybody's wanting the same thing. For real. Humanity wants the same thing. Peace of mind. So to get peace of mind, realize that everybody wants it. And if everybody wants it, you be the first to give it. But who are you going to give it to? Yourself. You know, people say, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. Yeah, you're the Ghostbuster. You. So when you sit down for a moment, listen, there's nothing a spot of tea can't fix. Because tea helps you to calm yourself. When you calm the body, you're going to use cause and effect in reverse. The effect that you're looking for is peace. And it comes through the umbrella of calm. So you have a spot of tea and you realize that the body has calmed itself, and now what can you do? Think clearly. See, when the thoughts are tumultuous and they're raging because you're trying to figure something out, the water is agitated. One cannot clearly see in an agitated pond. I've told you this before. I gave you the image of the little boy or the little girl with their little galoshes on and they're jumping in the puddle. Because you know how children are. They love to get a little dirty, don't they? And they're jumping in this puddle. And they don't care about ringworm. They're just jumping in the puddle. And all of the sediment from the bottom starts to churn. And when they look in this puddle, it's just dirty. They can't see anything. But when they stop jumping in the puddle, the particles begin to settle at the bottom once more, and the water becomes clear. And when the water becomes clear, now you can see yourself reflected. So now that you can see yourself, you can see the problem and you can fix it. Not because it is broken, but because you want to move yourself from where you are to where you're going. The law of polarity. So you sit there and you allow your mind to settle on one thing. It could be inhale, exhale. It could be, wow, that's a beautiful flower. And you just become so engrossed in looking at every facet of this flower. Because you cannot turn off the mind. Its job is to think. or should I say the brain, because you are always aware. So you can't turn off your awareness. However, to focus the awareness, you can give it a singular thing to focus upon. You can give it a singular thing to be aware of. So you see, you cannot turn off your awareness. So, people say, well, I sit there, my mind just starts to wander, and I can't turn it off. It is not meant to be turned off. It is meant to be focused on a singular thing. So as you sit where you are, put your awareness, which is yourself, on what you want to be aware of. What do you want to be aware of? The dot on the wall, the flower in the garden, your breath, your inhale, exhale, the beating of your heart. Just simply give it one thing to be aware of. Just one. Because it likes to focus. Because when it focuses, it builds intensity upon the thing it is focused upon. And then you become what you have focused upon. So you see, it is rather simple when you put it into perspective and you comprehend what you are doing. But you see, as humanity, we are drawn like moths to the flame. The drama, the disturbances. Do you know why? Because you want to feel alive. You want to feel something. So you go to it. You want to feel something. But you see, what you feel, you become. So what do you want to feel like? This is the simplest of solutions. But you see, we tend to scoff at the simple things because we think, one, they're too simple. Two, well, that's stupid. How can anything be that simple? When all you have to do is put a seed in the ground and it simply grows. It is meant to be that simple because it is the design. Confucius said, man likes to complicate things. Why complicate it? Take some time. Stop and smell the roses for the love of all things. Because when you stop and you smell them, right? There's something actually very soothing about it. Scientifically. When you inhale and then you exhale, you soothe yourself. They tell you also that babies, to soothe themselves, they suck on something. Because it's their natural inclination to be soothed, they suck on something. So that's why when you breastfeed, they calm themselves. Right? This is why you call a soother a pacifier. Because there's something to be said about that motion. There's only one focus that they're doing. So if your focus is just to smell the rose and enjoy the smell of the rose, you will do something to your body physiologically. You will begin to release calming hormones in your body. As within, so without. It is law. And if you make it your business to sniff those roses, but don't just sniff them, you allow the simple pleasure of smelling the rose to do its thing. You see, again, the purpose of the rose. We don't really know what the purpose is, but we know it has an incredibly beautiful function, and that could be its purpose. We could speculate. So why not use it for what you can? It is calming to you. It is soothing to you. When you walk by the river, they call it a babbling brook. The sound of the water is soothing to you. But what happened? We don't live near water anymore. We don't even go anywhere near water anymore. Why? You've been cut off from water. So you have to reconnect yourself. I am simply showing you all of the things that take you away from yourself. There's nothing wrong with playing games. There's nothing wrong with hanging out with your friends. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You get around your true friends, your whole body relaxes. You are at ease with them. You trust them. So the body must respond in kind. So if you get around people, A, you don't know, B, they're tumultuous, argumentative, bombastic, what do you think happens to your body? Oh, that's right. Your belly gets tight. Your shoulders get tight. The jaw gets clenched and tight. And then you sit there and you say, oh my God, why do I feel like this? And sometimes we don't even stop to ask ourselves why we feel that way. We just give into the feeling. We become dull and unaware. You see, you can never be unaware, but you can be lulled into a stupor where your awareness is muffled and hidden from you. That is not a good place to be. Ever. Why not? Because when you are unaware of yourself, then you can't clearly see what you are doing, nor can you understand why you're doing it. And then the first thing you say is, but I don't know what came over me. I don't know why I did it. I forgot myself. That's what we do. It is what we do. So the way through this is to take some time to cultivate a state of inner peace. And if you look around you, everything that nature has out there has been designed for you to be at peace. Because when you are at peace, oh, now you can be creative. And when you are creative, oh, from a place of love, which is peace, because it's your true self, because you are love. But to get to that place, to create from it, you have to put yourself in that state. But we are so busy doing everything else. We don't see it. And then we say, why is the world in such chaos? Because humanity has chaos within themselves. As within, so without. And each individual is walking around with a level of chaos. Whether that chaos is anxiety because you're worried about how something is going to turn out, You're worried about how you'd be judged. Are they still going to care about you? Are they still going to love you? Listen, I get it. But if you would take a moment and go outside, sit under the apple tree. But Angela, I don't have an apple tree in my neighborhood. I don't even have trees in my neighborhood. Yikes. Look at that for a moment. If you're in a neighborhood and you don't have trees in it, look at the mood of people. I mean, it's just an observation. Look at the mood of people if you do not have trees. And you'll begin to comprehend what is happening. You'll begin to comprehend what is happening. Because you will notice, wait a minute, everybody's so short-tempered. Yeah, because everybody's hot. When you have trees around you, you have life around you. But why would somebody design a neighborhood and not allow trees? I'm going to tell you, the person who's planting the trees, they were just given an order, no trees in this quadrant, and they follow it. They don't know why, but they just follow through with it. It's not on them. They're just, quote unquote, following orders. They're telling you, no more single family homes. We're just going to cram everybody together and on top of each other. Why? Because then there is never a moment of stillness. Because you can always hear your neighbors. You can always hear the dog. There's never any quiet. And if there's never any quiet, remember the law of cause and effect. And it can be used. An effect can be used to instigate a cause. And a cause can be used to bring about an effect. So if the effect is turmoil, inner turmoil, that's the effect. Well, then what would the cause be? Remove any opportunity to have any quietness outside in your neighborhood. Because the effect now, remember, it's just noise. So if you're always surrounded by noise, you become noisy. So now we get to learn. We get to learn how, in the face of all of these things, if you don't have trees, you have you. If you don't have a companion, you have you. It doesn't matter what is on the outside, you have you. So we've got to get to a point where we can generate what we require from within ourselves. Because if we continually say, oh my God, there's no peace in the world. So what, you gonna live chaotic for the rest of your life? You've got to learn how to foster that within yourself in spite of what is going on around you. And you know why? Because then it will not matter what neighborhood you are in. You will create peace wherever you go. Why? Because you are peace. And wherever you are, there is peace. But you see, we don't know that. We allow ourselves to be influenced by the noise. We allow ourselves to be influenced by the noise, which will bring about a desired effect. Whose desired effect? Lord have mercy, don't ask me who. But if you pay attention, you'll see. If you pay attention and your focus Listen, I'm just beginning to get into William Blake. And he said, first of all, he said, where man is not, nature is barren. But then he says, if you can see God in everything, the leaves, the flowers, the bird, caca, if you can see God in all of that, do you know what you've just cultivated within yourself? Peace. Look for the peace, and you will find it. But you're not looking outside of you. In order to see peace on the exterior, you have to look for it within yourself. Oh dear, you can't find that peace, can you? You know why you can't find it? Because it's not lost. You are peace itself. You just forgot. You forgot that you are peace itself. So here's your friendly reminder today. You are peace. And if you are peace, well then, peace is going with you wherever you go. And funny thing happens with the law of gender. Nothing stays within, does it? As within, so without. How? Because it is moving and it is projected masculine. It is projected out of you into the world. That is what happens. So today, because I ain't going to keep you long, take your time. You see, we are so conditioned by the clock. 60 minutes, how it started. And there's this sense of anxiety that builds within us when you hear the ticking of a clock. Why is that? You see, when you are doing what you love, you lose all sense of time. You don't have any idea what the clock says because you have been so singularly focused. You moved yourself. Where? Deeper within yourself is where you moved. When you go in there, there's so much stillness, there's so much peace. You have no idea what time it is. You've lost track of, quote unquote, the clock. Yet, you accomplished so much in apparently so little time. So, how are you going to generate inner peace? By recognizing that you are it. Well, how do you know you're it? Well, you got to take some time to see it for yourself. So that's why you can sniff the roses. Listen, you go to the grocery store, right? And they have cut flowers. If you don't have flowers in your neighborhood and you don't have a rose bush outside and you go to the grocery store, listen, even 7-Eleven has roses. Sniff them. You see? Because when you sniff the rose, the body responds with a beautiful reaction for you. It soothes you and it calms you. And science would tell you, you've just released calming hormones. But you see, they don't know why you released calming hormones. They say it's because you sniffed the rose. But what caused you to sniff the rose? What gave you the power to sniff the rose? Your awareness. You see, we want to think that the word awareness is fancy. Nah. And we just use it as a catchphrase nowadays. Oh my God, I'm so aware. Yes, but of what? You can't not be aware. You must always be aware, whether you are aware that you're aware or not. You see, awareness is, where am I? What am I doing? Who am I? You might not be able to answer all of those questions, but you will answer one of them, which is the only question there is to answer. Because the answer will be, oh, I am, and then you'll say what you are aware of doing. But first, you are always aware of yourself. Always. There's never a disconnect from it. Ever. You see? And that's why I love the way Neville says it. You can forget who you are. You can forget where you are, but you will always know that you are. But think about it. You have Alzheimer's? Oh my God, I forget. Who forgets? I forget. You become aware that you have forgotten. But you notice something? You can't not say I. So you and I are always aware. But you've got to hone that awareness. Because it is all you are. You are only ever aware. And you are aware of yourself first. And then you are aware of what you are doing and what you are saying and how you are behaving. So here I am to tell you today, if you would take the time to settle yourself and just sit there and become aware of one thing, I am breathing, and feel the air as it passes in and out of your lungs and anywhere else. If you do that, something opens up. Don't ask me what opens up. Do it and find out. How else will you know? We always want to take somebody's word for it. Oh my God, tell me what that tastes like. Dude, I don't want you to tell me what it tastes like. I want to know for myself. So I am going to taste it. So it doesn't matter what you're doing today. You could be having your breakfast at the moment. Slow down and chew your food. Hey. Do you know why? Because if you slow down and chew your food, you will taste it. And we'll stop putting so much salt on everything. But I digress. Slow down and chew your food. Slow down and sip your tea or your coffee or whatever beverage. But slow down and do it. Just do it and allow the taste. Why? Because if you put your awareness on the taste, you will heighten the taste because you're now fully aware of it. Some people can inhale their food. Listen, they eat that thing and they have no idea. Like they can't tell you what it tastes like. You know why? Because you're busy doing something else. You're not eating. You're doing something else. And that is the problem we have. We have been pulled. Our attention and focus has been pulled into everything else other than ourselves. Oh, but Angela, isn't that conceited? Are you crazy? Conceited? Fan base? Somebody look up the definition of conceited because all my devices are occupied. And drop it in the chat and I'm going to read it. Take your time to do things. Become aware of what you are doing. Because when you become aware of what you are doing, you're now more aware of the person who is doing it. Why is this important? Because if you are not aware of what you are doing, you will do something that you did not intend to do. And then you'll say, Oh my God, did I do that? Yeah, you'll say it. You'll say it. And you'll say, oh my God, I didn't mean to. And regret is a hell of a thing. But there's a reason. Don't worry about the external reason why you should focus on your inner. Don't worry about the external. If you simply take the time to recognize and taste your food and smell the flowers and give yourself a moment of peace, watch what happens to your world. Watch what happens to your inner world, and then watch what happens to the corresponding outer world. Pay attention and then tell me what happens. Okay. Conceited, excessively proud of oneself, or vain. You see, that's a human word. But when you focus on the self, yes, see, false pride, an exaggerated sense of self-importance. You see, I want you to think about that for a moment. Oh, you can't have an exaggerated a sense of self-importance? Why not? Keyword is exaggerated. Full of yourself. Yes, fifth dimension. Full of yourself. If you are not full of yourself, who are you full of? I'm just asking for a friend. But you see, the word conceited and the way they have it defined would make you dislike the self. There is only self. And the way you condition self, meaning I am ... whatever that word is you want to put after, you say, oh, I am conceited. It makes you now resent the self, and other people resent you because they say, oh my God, who do you think you are? You think you're better than us? But where did it come from first? You were the one who said, oh, I better not have an exaggerated sense of self. But I am asking you to put that into perspective, because there is only the self. So if you are walking around and you do not know yourself, okay, who do you know then? Because who you know is what you behave like. So it is in your best interest to know yourself. But they would want to tell you who's they. Don't ask me who's they, because I don't know. But what I'm trying to tell you is that word has been distorted. But look at the word C-O-N, conscious is where that comes from. Conscientious. All having to do with the self and the awareness of the self. But yet, we've allowed a definition to thwart or to corrupt the self. I want you to contemplate that. Because you would have to realize that there is only one self. I may say fifth dimension. Hey, girl. I may say that. But we're the same consciousness. The same thing that powers me is the same thing that powers her. Because how do you know? Because when we're both gone from this world, only one thing is gone. Two bodies may obviously remain, but only one thing is gone from both of them. The consciousness, the awareness is gone from this realm. So what I'm saying to you today, whatever that thing is that has said, oh, self-importance, where you would know that the self has to be important. And you would know myself and yourself are one self. So I am neither more or less important because there's only one self. So one self can't be more important. Who's it going to be more important than? It needs something else to be in comparison to. But there's only one self. So it has to be important. And because your self is important, yourself is important, people. If you don't treat it like it is important and recognize that George down the street is important too, and there's only one importance, one self that is important, well then you would not say, "Ah, look at him, look at her, I'm better than them." You know who says I'm better than somebody else? The person who does not know themselves. Because if they knew the self, they would know that there is no greater than the self, and there is only one self. So I want you to see how the word conceit and the definition of conceit has blinded you to yourself and made you afraid. Because you know why? You don't want to be judged. Oh, look at you. You're so conceited. You're so arrogant. You think you're better than me. There would have to be something other than the self in order for it to be better or worse than. But there isn't anything other than self. There's only one. So nothing is neither above it, as in value or worth, because it is the only thing there is. And the sooner we recognize that, we would stop with the division. Because you're only trying to divide the self, and the self can never be divided. It can't be divided. It can't be added to. It can't be taken from. Whether you multiply or divide, add or subtract, you can't do any of those things to it. Because it is whole. So we may have different faces. We may eat different foods. We may have different languages. But we're just one. And the sooner we recognize that, we would, right little bit, we would come to peace if we recognize that. So give peace a chance today. Give peace a chance. It is not lost, just shrouded. Just shrouded underneath fancy words. Let's take a moment and welcome everyone into the space on this glorious Thursday. I like your name on Twitter because I always do this. This person's name on Twitter is Loading. So welcome, Loading. Welcome to the space. I had to do it because I love it. Right? I just absolutely love it. I am so appreciative of you being here. Thank you. You made my day with Loading. Awesome sauce. Who's here on Facebook and YouTube? A little bit, honey. We know that you're here. Asanya is here. Miss T-Versation is here. And there's somebody on Facebook because they gave me a thumbs up. But I don't know who they are. They didn't tell me who they are. They just gave me a thumbs up. Hey, I see you. And Fifth Dimension is in the house. I love hanging out with Fifth Dimension. I love it. We have so much in common. You can find Fifth Dimension on Twitter, on Clubhouse. Yes, in the Fifth Dimension. I love it. What a beautiful spirit she is. Truly. Who is here on Fanbase today? Esquire. Hello, darling. I see you. Miss Crenshaw. I was listening to a song yesterday. Afternoon Delight. And here we are with Miss Delight in the house. Moon and Duck are in the house. KZ is here. I love you, my dearest. Listen, honey, what's wrong with you? Trying to holler me down. Miss McQueen, Miss Fawn is here. Shea Butter is here. Flo Smiles and Oracle Treehouse. We are all here this morning because we will say, I am here. Here where? See, now you become aware of where you are, but you know that you're here. Take some time. Take some time today. It's actually quite interesting because when he crows, it does something to you. Seriously, it does something to you. It soothes me, for one. Even if I'm right there, like if I kiss him and he starts to crow, I'm like, baby, that's my ears. And my ears be ringing all day. But it does something to you when you hear him sing. There's a soothing nature that happens. It just does something to you. And I love it when he sings. Because it does something. It truly does. So the same thing with every bird you can hear out there. But my window's closed because it's a little chilly. And so I can't hear my little tweet, tweet, tweet friends. But they're there. Don't get it twisted. So even if you turn on bird song, all of those things that are there, that scientists are telling you now, it is all about energy and frequency and vibration. But I don't know that they truly grasp what that means. They don't. All those words describe the self. Frequency, energy, and vibration. Self. They're just fancy words for the self. Frequency, the rate at which something is moving, the rate at which you are aware of yourself, the intensity of your awareness, your emotions. Frequency, the rate. But then there's vibration. Well, everything is moving. Everything has to move. It cannot stand still. The self is also moving because it can't stand still, and there's only the self that's moving anyway. Right? The vibration. But energy. You want something, you want to say energy, because if you say self, what do you mean self? So you say energy instead. Because it's the descriptive word of the self. The descriptive word of the self as it moves. Frequency, energy, vibration are all synonyms for the word self. That's why Nikola Tesla could tell you he would understand the world if you understood frequency, energy, and vibration. The self. That's it. But there's nothing else beyond that. Oh, is it? Oh, Miss Sonia says it's hot in Florida. Here's a cool breeze for you, Miss Sonia. A cool breeze. Indeed. Because I'm looking for some heat, because my ginger ale needs some heat so it can ferment faster. When it's cool like that, it slows fermentation. You see? We call it science, but it isn't. To get the effervescence. If you want the effervescence, the bubbles in your ginger ale to happen faster, put it somewhere warm. If you want to slow it down and not have it happen too quickly, put it somewhere cooler. What are you moving though? Just the bottle with the ginger ale in it. You are moving one thing. There is no duality. You're only moving one thing, which is polarity, right? From where it is to where it's going. Only one thing is moving, and that's the bottle of your ginger ale, to either quickly effervesce or slowly effervesce. But only one thing is moving: the self at all times. So this beautiful Thursday, make it your business, because the more still you become, you can feel the self. Remember, because you can feel the body. Of course you can feel the body. You can touch it, unless you got a neuropathy going on, numbness, tingling. Yeah. You've cut yourself off from feeling, have you? What do you think it's trying to tell you? You can't feel your toes, and you say, oh, my diabetes, I can't feel my toes, I can't feel my fingers. No, it's not. You've cut yourself off from your own self. That's why you can't feel. As within, so without. That's the simple answer. But then you break down each step in between to show you why you've allowed yourself to become disconnected, so you can't feel anymore. You're in your body. You can feel the body, but if you get real quiet, and I'm trusting that I'm rousing your curiosity, so that you will be still and feel the self that is powering your body. Oh, remember last night in the lecture when Neville Goddard said, I closed my eyes, but he said he shut his eyes to the obvious. Well, your body is obvious. Shut your eyes to it and just allow yourself to feel the invisible. Oh, yeah. Seriously, just sit there, recline there, lay there, because we're going to get the bowl so you can practice. You might get bird song. I don't know. But when you hear the bowl, begin to allow yourself to feel the not obvious. Because as I said, your body is obvious. You can squeeze things, yes? You can pull your hair, ouch. You can slap yourself, ouch. You can feel the self. You can feel the body. That's the visible, obvious part. But what about the invisible part of you? The part that powers the physical. As you hear the bowl this morning and you are wherever you are, if you're driving, just get where you're going safely, please. This is not the time for you to figure it out. Just drive. And when you get to your destination, before you get out of your car, just sit and close your eyes to the obvious. Literally close your eyes to the obvious and feel the invisible. You'll feel it. And when you feel it, don't freak out, because it's you. Hey. Right? Let's get the bowl. Let's get the bowl. It's coming. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am Amani. Welcome, dear. Welcome. Thank you all for being here on this glorious, glorious Thursday. Truly, your presence is really appreciated. Truly it is. Remember, this Saturday, there is a workshop. It's the Flourish Interactive Manifestation Q&A workshop. You want to come to that. Yes, you do. Don't come by yourself, though. If you come by yourself, it's $75. Bring a friend, and it's $35 for you and $35 for them. You know why? And if you don't have a friend, we'll find you one. Don't fret. But this workshop, purpose, passion, delight. Where did delight go? Because then she'll tell me what the third P is. Because I forgot. But come out to it. There's a description of it in my YouTube community page. On Twitter, it's on my timeline. It's on TikTok. It's on Fanbase. It is on Facebook also. Come check it out. And let's go deeper. Yes? Anywho, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, slide into my DMs and let me know, as always. And I will see you tonight. I don't know the name of the lecture. But if it's anything like last night's lecture, you want to be there for that. Last night's lecture was lit, let me tell you. Shook me up. It really did. So, as you go through this beautiful day, stop for a minute, baby, I'm so glad. Just stop for a minute, or 2 or 3, and feel the self, not feel yourself, feel the self. Right? So, I will see you tonight, 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Much love to each and every one of you. Peace out, YouTube and Facebook.